This is Diversified Game.
A podcast giving entrepreneurial advice from a diverse and inclusive perspective with Kellen.
He may agree, he may oppose, and it's more than just race, it's about, ideas.
So, let the game begin.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, I have Eben of African Grain Millers, and all the way from, say it with me, because our president got it wrong when he said NAMIBIA, NAMIBIA. That is the way you say it. He is going to give us the game on African Grain Millers. Why he started it. We found his story and how we made it in Africa.com. We love that website for highlighting entrepreneurs like Eben. Eben, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Welcome. I'm doing good, Kellen. How are you? What's the time that said?
It is 1 out here, about 1:30, and just so the audience knows, we did this interview and Eben was real and raw with me, but guess what? Zoom glitched out, and I'm gonna get this wrapped, and I told him, give me 10 minutes. I gotta get his story because I need to know. One, we're gonna start where we left off. Eben, you have this company, you went to university, you say university helped you, but that you were going to be an entrepreneur either way. Where does that drive come from in agriculture?
Agriculture has always been something very, very dear to me. I love the sector. I love it. So when I was in university, I've always wanted to actually venture into something more than just something that's just more than what we're studying. So I figured out that food production was my line of work, and that's when I decided, okay, one day once I've made it to a certain position, I'll have to venture into food production. Yeah.
Okay, and where we had left off, you said your community give back is you really donate food. Why is having everybody eat so important to you? Was there a time that you went hungry or that you heard stories of people going hungry that inspired that?
With agriculture, one thing we need to know is that it's not only, it's actually around, it happens everywhere. Agriculture is around the world, in your country, my country, in every other country, it's agriculture. So as you know, that food is key. People need to eat. This is the number one basic need to live. So with food production, like my company, AGM, it's just something that I've always known, I've always read. In fact, that's actually what got me to study, to focus on agriculture. Because I've been reading, I've been seeing people not eating. I've been malnutrition, people dying of hunger. Fortunately, it's not so common in my country, but other places around the world, these things happen. So I think, that being said and done, that's why it's a very sensitive topic to me. I just want to do my part of whereby I can say that I fed this family. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, when you started this company, you didn't take out and seek big money and investors and partners because you really wanted to do it, on your own. Now you have trucks, you deliver, how did you get the money? How did you first get the savings? There's somebody, a 14-year-old boy right now who has this same vision, and he says, but I have no idea, how am I going to get this money? I might not even have school fees for, next year. How do you start in that equipment that you got? Did you have everything already laid out before you went full time, or did you have to get it piece by piece?
Nothing ever happens once, just piece by piece. So somewhere last of last year. So before I resigned, there was actually always known I was going to leave. So the decision for me to leave, what I did was I started putting things in place. I started saving up. And luckily for the company that I worked, we received production bonuses based on the amount of grapes we packed. So every year, I would take a piece of that amount and I would put it aside on my unit trust, because I had a unit trust. And then this was all in preparation to me quitting at the end. So I've always known before that I was going to leave. I was going to do this. I was going to open this company. So it didn't happen once. It didn't happen in one day. It didn't happen in 2 days. It took a while for me to save up. And then what happened was I had just before I left, I still had a pay slip, so I used my credit worthiness. So I went to the bank with my pay slip, and then I asked for a small amount on top of what I already saved up. And then the bank gave me the money that I asked for on top of what I had. So I put that amount together, and that's when I bought my first hammer mills and my dehallers, and I set up the factory.
Okay. And you don't just, we call it out here in America, getting it out of the mud. You provide for the rural areas, also small business. I know you'll sell to big shops. But what was the passion for going after what they in business call the little guy? Why focus on the rural area? Why focus on the small mom and pop? Were other people ignoring them? Is that why you saw the need?
Oh, no, not at all. Like I said, there's such an uneven distribution of wealth in my country. So there's a huge gap between the wealthy and the poor. So with my company, we produce food that is mostly eaten by majority of the country. So I had to focus on the rural areas, because that's where the majority of the people are. Because with every other country, most people that live in rural areas, that's where the poverty is. So I couldn't focus on the wealth, So I had to touch on the areas where people are less privileged, and which is now the rural areas.
And that's good, because out of those rural areas, that I bet you that's where the fortune is going to come. And you guys who are watching, I know we have majority of you listening. The ones who are watching, that's why he's in the dark. It's a time difference, and he's been so gracious with his time. But when you're getting this type of money, you don't want to be recognized everywhere. What do you find? You were telling me in about maybe 2 years, you will allow investors to come in. Is there a certain number that you want to be at before you let investors come in, so you have more power? Or is it that you just want to learn more and create a better system?
There's not going to be a perfect time to say, okay, now this is the time for investors. I think as time goes, I'll actually just automatically know that, okay, now is the best time to actually bring in investors, whether it's partnering or whether it's venture capital. Or so I think once I take my brand from where it is now and just lift it a bit more, then I think I'll be able to bring in the investors. But I can't actually say when that'll be. I said about in 2 years' time, but it might take longer. It might be in a shorter period. But I think, as smart as I am, I think I'll just know when the right time is.
Well, I want you guys to make that a shorter period by making sure you go to African grain millers, and I want you to bother them and say, I have money. I want to invest in Africa. Please open it up for me. I want to get out of Babylon and into paradise. I've seen the pictures. I need to see the coast, and I need to feel, protected and safe. So if you guys do that, it may be a shorter time, and, you can get your investment in. Eben, I thank you for coming and sharing this time with all of the glitches that are man-made and technically just made, and appreciating you for your time, brother.
Oh no, thank you so much, Kellen. I wanted to ask you a quick question. If with this, I only got to know you after you sent me the invite. But I'll be subscribing to your show, and I'll invite some of my people as well here to tune in as well. Definitely.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Did
Okay.
you say you had a question?
Oh yeah, I'm to ask, when are you coming to Africa? Because technically that's where you guys are. This is the roots where you guys came from. This is your home.
Yeah. I am gonna be back in Africa, and I don't know. I'm still recording. You let me know if you want to go off air, but this might be a teachable moment. I'll be there, God willing, in the fall. We're just waiting for this pandemic to die down, but I have investment in Cameroon as far as land, and I also have business dealings in a couple of other countries. So I can't wait to get back.
Okay, no, that's good. I still have your number, so I think we can still keep in touch.
That's fine. We'll definitely get in touch, and I'm gonna have you guys like, share, and subscribe, and take this off air before I tell you.
Thanks for getting in the game and listening to the Diversified Game Podcast with Kellen, the #1 show pairing entrepreneurship with diverse and inclusive perspectives like wine and cheese, bagel and lox, fish and grits. Be sure to visit diversifiedgame.com for all the good stuff. Join in the conversation and discover more content.